Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to our 19th webinar in this series, exploring how tax technology can help you. As always, just the quick housekeeping points before we get going today. Today's session will be recorded. There is an opportunity for questions, so please do enter them into the Q&A function within Zoom and not the chat if you could. And as always, there's a follow-up session from today's topic for those that would like to see a deeper dive of the technology that we'll get into. And of course, will be 30 minutes today. So let's get going. My name is Ian Bowden. I'm a tax partner and head of BDO's tax automation practice. And this series really does explore the art of the possible. All our previous events are now on our website and via our YouTube channel. So be sure to check out any that you've missed so far. In this series, we do try to bring insights into hot topics and showcase different vendors. And today we do a little bit of both. Really excited to be joined by Erik, formerly of Pagero and now a Thomson Reuters company. I'm sure Erik will have a little bit to say on that matter in due course. But just before I do hand over to Erik, we do like to provide a quick market overview on today's topic, and who better than VAT Director Amit Dev to give us a quick snapshot into the world of e-invoicing. I'm sure we're all keen to hear from Amit in terms of the recent consultation document from HMRC. Their pre-Valentine's Day announcement was obviously exciting for many. And obviously, I'm looking forward to writing BDO's response on that. But Amit, over to you. Is it as exciting as it sounds?
Thanks, Ian, and morning all. So if we go into the next slide, please, and we can just break this down a little. And it was a bit of a Valentine's gift for us. As you can tell, I'm sure everyone's read it as well on this webinar. So just going through the two elements really, which is kind of introduction part of it, and then the key kind of questions that are being asked that we've seen. So key dates really are when it started, 13th of Feb, as you probably know already, and the consultation runs for 12 weeks until the 7th of May. So big question is going to be, why do they want to do this? So what HMRC, or I guess the Treasury, are saying is they want to standardize and essentially increase adoption in the UK in relation to e-invoicing. And they say, and so do other nations as well, say that it will cut paperwork for businesses and also help improve productivity. I mean, if you see the political landscape at the moment, you know, there's a bit of a kind of almost like a broke Britain approach to things at the moment in terms of finance wise. So, and boosting productivity is a key political pillar in terms of the agenda going forwards. So
You've been following Elon Musk too much on Twitter, I think, haven't you?
Yeah, well, so have the government, I guess, in terms of the way they're speaking at the moment. So this is what they say, but actually, between the lines, you'll see, and if you do follow other European nations as well, there's always been a big VAT gap. I think the UK is around 9 billion or so, so it's huge figures. And introducing e-invoicing in other jurisdictions has significantly reduced that gap. So there is a key driver behind it, really, in terms of the finances for the government. So this is, we think, going to be a key part of that, really. But there are benefits to business. It does save time. I mean, what you're essentially doing is sending a bit of code between finance systems and putting automatic entries in instead of receiving a PDF invoice and then someone manually having to enter that into a system and process it. Even using OCR can be a bit time consuming. So it does save quite a bit of time, and it does improve the accuracy, which Erik will probably go into a bit later. And we've already mentioned the benefits to the Exchequer. There's this huge back gap. They want to fix the finances in the UK, and this is probably going to be one of those key drivers behind it from a tax perspective. So what are the key questions that we've seen in the consultation? So there are several models, which Erik is going to take us through. But the key question is, which model should the UK adopt? Should it be a decentralized approach, or should it be centralized where HMRC is in the loop, essentially, receiving a feed directly for businesses? Who's in scope? Which businesses? All businesses, or just the large businesses? Does it include government? So that's a key question. And is it going to be mandatory or voluntary? I mean, arguably, mandatory obviously is going to get bigger uptake, as you've seen with MTD versus voluntary. And then for us, a key point that may be missed actually is the big opportunity e-invoicing is real-time reporting. So if we can have that real-time reporting, that could really reduce upstream errors in terms of returns. So that's the key questions really, and the introduction to consultation. And why don't we now hand over to Erik, who can take us through a lot more of the
Actually, you
detail.
were going to just ask a very quick poll question, weren't you, Amit?
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah, you're right. We were, sorry, apologies. If we bring the poll up now, there was a question actually on the consultation. So it'd be good to understand who from this forum is intended to respond to this. So if we spend 20 seconds or so on this, we can get your answers.
Yeah, I think most big businesses will want to have their say, but it's always a fine line, isn't it, Amit, in terms of the value for us spending a couple of days writing a response and whether it does get listened to. I think what was interesting, I wrote the MTD for CT one, and quite a lot of the comments that we made did make it into the final response document, but whether it was listened to, I don't know. But anyway, hopefully, there we go, a mix. So most people said no. What consultation? You obviously missed the Valentine's Day announcements, but yeah, so e-invoicing looks like it's coming, and we'll hear a little bit more from Erik in terms of how it's gone from some of our European cousins, and what we can expect, and how Pagero and now Thomson Reuters company can solve that. So let's close that poll down and stop sharing. And Erik, can I pass over to you, and you can introduce yourself and start taking us through what the answer is in this area, I guess.
Absolutely. And thank for inviting me. So I'm Erik Stening, and I'm leading product marketing for Pagero, now part of Thomson Reuters. So what I will go through today basically is, of course, Pagero becoming part of Thomson Reuters, what that kind of inner synergies that we see and what effects that we see, benefits for customers, but also to go through the Pagero solutions and share some insights on kind of the best practices that we believe that it's important to take into consideration when you lay out your invoicing strategy. I mean, it's a lot of things going on at the moment in the market. UK is one of the countries that are looking into having some sort of adoption to e-invoicing, but a lot of countries have already done so, and it's a very decentralized and not de-standardized way that this is being adopted across Europe and other parts of the world as well. I will not go through specific CTC models in this call, but I'm happy to share some more insights on that on another base. But I think that we might have some time in the end for questions where we'll touch on that as well. So to start this off basically, and to give you, and I will start sharing my screen as well. I hope it works. It's always a bit.
We've got you, Erik. That looks right to me.
Perfect. So obviously Pagero has built a strong reputation when it comes to e-invoicing compliance and auto automation as well, helping companies navigate around the complexities around new requirements coming into effect. But what we see is also kind of how these mandates and how these requirements are becoming more sophisticated and more complex, basically. So what customers need today is at least what we've seen in dialogues with customers, are more integrated solution that not only connects e-invoicing, but also other parts of the scope, basically around tax determination and reporting as well. So this is where we see a huge benefit of becoming part of Thomson Reuters as a global leader of tax, legal, and basically compliance solutions. So it really makes a strategic fit. So Pagero was acquired by Thomson Reuters last year, and we really see some of the benefits and synergies coming into effect right now. And so Pagero Network is now part of the world's leading determination and reporting platform. And to kind of look at from a more of a direct solution perspective, and what we can see from the different capabilities that we individually have and how these are being combined now today for our customers. I just wanted to share you with one example. If I can get it to work. So, I mean, as I said, Pagero specializes more in automating compliance at a transactional level, with e-invoices, orders, and also tax reporting. But together, we provide more of an end-to-end kind of compliance solution where we connect not only the e-invoicing side of things, but also tax determination and indirect compliance. So for customers, this means basically that we will have a more of a complete solution, an end-to-end solution, with also being part of Thomson Reuters with greater investments in innovation. So Pagero is still a very high priority, and since the market is going in the direction of more and more invoicing requirements are coming into play, obviously this is a major strategic focus in the future as well. But what we see now with a combined kind of offering is a more of a broader compliance coverage, which will have huge benefits for our customers as well. And not only kind of from a solution perspective, but also more of a stronger partner ecosystem around this as well. So this is one more of the immediate benefits that we see becoming part of Thomson Reuters, which I think will have a huge benefit for our customers and in the market in general. So what I wanted to do now is to take more of a closer look of Pagero solutions. So I will give an introduction for you who doesn't know Pagero that well, and I will end with showing the interface quite quickly. But what we are trying to do, what Pagero is aiming to do, is that we want to build the largest business network in the world, basically. And what that means is that we want to connect buyers and suppliers in an easy way, so they can start exchanging documents like invoices, orders, delivery documents, and payments in a safe and automated way. And obviously having that compliance piece built into it. And I think what was mentioned also in the intro, even though that the compliance aspect is the compelling event, and that's what everybody's focusing on, that is a mandate coming into effect. The automation piece is where companies see the huge benefit, being more efficient, being more of where they can streamline more of the internal processes and really see the benefit of having more of a digital and automated way of their financial processes, where they see the huge benefits on a company level, but also from a country perspective as well. So they can see how companies and countries can make free resources, basically to have a more efficient process overall. But Pagero is a business network, and we are built basically to fit right into existing systems. And that is what for us, a network means, that we connect directly to ERP systems or financial system or the workflow system or whatever kind of the system side looks. So what we do is that once connected, we help customers communicate with their buyers and suppliers in a more compliant way, but without the need of disrupting the kind of the operations that they currently have. And not to go too deep into I know we have limited time, so not to go too deep into the different solutions, but I wanted to show this because this is also kind of a trend that we see on the market as well from a compliance perspective. But Pagero, having the Pagero network as its core, we support different solutions based on the kind of the different needs on the market and the different needs of the customer. But beside the strong focus on e-invoicing and C2C compliance, we help automate processes around accounts payable and accounts receivable, as well as other key parts of the order to cash and purchase to pay side of things, but also more of industry specific solutions like transport management or health solutions or e-banking. This is important because also we see how regulations now are adding more. It's not only about e-invoicing anymore. It affects the complete supply chain from. So it's not only the invoice, but it covers more of the documents connected to the supply chain, basically. And what does it mean from a Pagero standpoint to be open? This is something that we talk a lot about, and what we see as a huge benefit. We understand that companies, they want to connect to all of their trading partners, regardless of where they are in the world and what kind of solution that they use. So that's why we've built our network around interoperability and openness. So currently we have a connection to 100 different networks, governmental platforms, or hubs, or banks. And what that means is that we can help customers connect and exchange their business documents in a compliant way across the globe, regardless basically of where they're trading partners are, on what kind of capabilities that they have. And this was also connected to what was mentioned in the beginning, that the main market driver in this space is, of course, the introduction and expansion of legal requirements, new mandates coming into effect. But companies are under also a lot of pressures to do more with less and to scale kind of their operations without scaling necessarily in headcounts. And Pagero comes from the automation side. We started with automation. Northern Europe, where we were born, that was more of the push from our customers back then, that they wanted to have a streamlined process around their financial processes. And then when compliance come into effect, this is where we basically have added compliance built into the solution. So we make sure that companies stay automated, but also making sure that they are processing the documents in a compliant way, depending on where they are. So we currently have support for 80 different jurisdictions or regions, and that is, of course, constantly growing with the pace the market is shifting. And as I said, also, it's more about invoices. Governments are increasingly mandating the use of other business documents, such as orders, transportations, payment confirmation, and invoice responses. And this is typically how it is being handled from a country perspective. They start somewhere, but then it's being expanded and it's being adjusted or updated. And often it's little time to adjust for companies today. But it's an important aspect of kind of setting the strategy and setting the kind of the requirements of the service providers that are going to help out with the e-invoicing strategy, is to make sure that we cover not only what is in what the requirement says today, but you have that kind of future-proof idea on the back as well, making sure that we capture also the future requirements. And it's not only about technology either. I think that one major aspect of setting your strategy and making sure that you are covered is about knowledge, and to make sure that you understand and you know what's happening on the market. And what I mean, I would say that one of the most important or most difficult things around compliance right now for companies is not to become compliant. It's about staying compliant. So it's happening a lot of changes, and it's about how you can stay informed. And this is the hard part of know what you need to do as a business in order to stay compliant. It's about finding that information and how you should act on it. So how we have done it, basically, because we understand that as a service provider, we need to be able to have this information at hand, and we need to be able to share this information with our customers as well. So what we do is that we have an internal regulatory affairs team that still monitors the changes and everything that's going on the market from a regulatory perspective. And then we have structures where we alert and that we make sure that the customers are aware of changes happening. And then we also want to take an active part and be part of the different forums and the different functions, basically setting the tone in this market as well. So we are in those forums trying to affect and also to help customers navigate around these things through thought leaderships in this kind of arena as well. And then definitely on a technical standpoint, I think it's important to understand also that we have that kind of requirements, we deploy that into the platform, and that is then made available for all our customers using the Pagero platform. Another aspect which we are often in discussions with customers is that, I mean, regulations will continue to evolve, and businesses, they will shift as well. And how we've done it and how we basically built this is both a technical solution, but this is also how we see the market. So what this means is Pagero is basically format agnostic and ERP agnostic. So it doesn't matter what kind of system or what kind of format or data points that you can provide, basically. You need to connect once to Pagero, and then we take over the complexity of converting documents to being compliant, but not only compliant from a from a regulatory perspective, but also from a business compliance perspective as well, making sure that you can trade and send and exchange documents with your trading partners and business partners without the need of doing these adjustments and these kind of technical adjustments on your end. That complexity is being driven from within the platform, basically based on the architecture that we've built. But I don't want to go into too much of a technical details. But the scalability aspect also is around kind of the long-term compliance, that it's important that when new regulations come to effect, or when new changes to regulations come into effect, that is being added and adopted in the platform, and customers doesn't necessarily need to make these adjustments on their end. That is being handled through the platform. So it will be probably a kind of a quick demo session, but I will stop sharing and then reshare real quick, so we have time for some questions. What are we at time, Ian?
You've got about 5 minutes, Erik.
And then I will speed up. Finding the share screen. Good. Hope this works.
Yeah, I can see the screen. The joys of live demos.
Let's see if it works. There you go. So once you are, and I will briefly just touch on a few different aspects of the platform. If you want to do a deep dive, happy to do so as well. But based on the kind of the capabilities that you have with Pagero, you will have a different interface while logging into the Pagero platform. The platform itself, for the solution itself, is built on a way that most of the logic and most of kind of the action is happening in the financial system our customers are using. So typically, and what I will show is how a customer typically is using the interface more on a daily basis, and it's about tracking and looking at sent and received documents, if there are any errors, what they can do basically to in that kind of trail, and then it's about the network piece, how you can add trading partners and how you can start connecting and communicating with your trading partners just by looking it up, and then I will quickly just show you the analytics, but in just a couple of minutes. So here's where you're starting. You have kind of shortcuts where you can quickly go through, quickly get to the most important, the most used functionalities in the platform. And if we look at going through the documents, this is typically where customers start. This is also where a customer is looking if they want to see if they are using if they're using the e-archiving service, they can, a legal e-archive with us, they can also search for those documents in that kind of repository to fetch invoices that they need to have for audit purposes or any other thing. So what they can do is they can search for documents, more filters, they can toggle between received, sent, and if there have been any errors. If you want to look more closely and look at details at a specific invoice, you just press one of the lines, and then you can you see a subset of the information on that kind of transaction document. You will see if it references to another document and what kind of files and attachments there are part of this document as well. If it's the kind of the legal or the tax invoice, or if there's any other documents they want to see, if it's a presentation or if it's the structured file, or if there's something else that you need. So you have the received, and you can see the sent documents. If there are any errors, this is where that will pop up as well, but you will also be notified. So you don't need to look into this kind of into the interface to look for if there's been an error. You will definitely be notified. What I wanted also to quickly show you, so this is basically a document view where customers are using to look at the transactions and follow kind of the process around the transactions. In the network piece is where you can, as a customer, you can search for customers in the directory of all companies connected to Pagero Online. So we have currently around 14 million companies connected. Not all of those companies are Pagero customers, but through interoperability agreements, these can be searchable and find, and you can connect to, regardless if they use Pagero or some other service provider. So if we try to search, and it's always fun to do these things in a live demo, but you can search, you can get a hit of the different organizations directly, and just by clicking, basically, you can then connect. And once connected, this will be through Peppo as the service provider is being used, or through that infrastructure. And once connected, you can then start transacting with your trading partners just by adding them, basically. I want to have time for answers, but happily for questions. So happily to go deeper into this short amount of time.
Yeah, appreciate we've put you on the spot a bit, Erik, just to give a bit of a snapshot of kind of what's there. But just a couple of quick questions, I think, that have come through, and then we'll. So the question from Marie Pierce: what territories is e-invoicing covered with Pagero at the moment, and what's the longer term plans?
That's a good question. I would say that currently we have support in 80 different jurisdictions. It's Europe, LATAM, and Asia, where we see a lot of things happening. Our top priority is to meet the requirements on a global scale. So when that is being introduced in new markets, Pagero will be there, and we are working on having that kind of global support. We have customers that needs it, and we want to have that kind of leading position still on the market. So that's a top priority.
And I guess one that I'm assuming is a fairly easy answer: a volume of invoices that Pagero holds or is able to hold.
We have customers spanning from the smallest little bakery with very few invoices to multinational companies transacting millions of documents. So it's no restrictions in terms of number of transactions.
Perfect. Amit, did you have a couple of questions for Erik, just while everyone else is putting them into the chat?
Yes, yeah, I did actually. So Erik, given the consultation for the UK is now out, and we've got a number of mature models, I guess, across the world, what is your perspective on the type of model we think the UK may potentially adopt? Good to understand.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's a tough one. I mean, obviously the consultation is now. We haven't seen any indications yet, and they will probably wait. But I mean, UK has a bit of a flexibility being post-Brexit and all that kind of stuff, but we also see a large VAT gap, and I think that we just touched about it as well. So I would think that they would go in the direction as VIDA and find some sort of real-time or non-real-time reporting, and they would probably have some sort of phased rollout when it comes to this as well. So it will start with some industries or some types of companies, and then being expanded. That it would be a typical model moving forward.
Perfect. Well, we are running short of time. Hopefully that was helpful. Exciting times. Obviously, Pagero being acquired by Thomson Reuters gives us some interesting options in terms of aligning with some of the other Thomson Reuters products that are out there. So if you're already a Thomson Reuters customer, what does that mean for you, and how could you benefit from data moving from one area, from a compliance, into the Pagero is e-invoicing. E-invoicing's expanding. It's something we're going to have to look at, particularly from a UK perspective. So any UK businesses that aren't thinking about writing a wonderful consultation document, the opportunity is there. We will be responding. Myself and Amit will be writing that one. So looking forward to putting that together. There'll be a follow-up from today's session. I appreciate Erik's demo. It was very brief. If you want to hear more, if you want to get into what it could look like for you, you'll get a notification. Please request a booking with us. So that was it. That's our 30 minutes up. Only for me to say thanks to Amit and thanks to Erik for joining today. Really appreciate your time. All of the sessions are on our YouTube channel, and we've kept to 30 minutes. So enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and we'll join you on the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.